What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a great day or had a great day. Um, I thought I'd start this new segment called Late Night Story Time, and basically, what the inspiration was a couple of weeks ago. I posted a story on Facebook that I wrote. Sorry, that I wrote, and people really seemed to enjoy it, which was cool. But I also kind of wanted to tell the story from my voice. That's the problem that I realized I've had with writing over the last few years is that I feel like I write it and then like people are able to interpret it into whatever voice they want, but I want there to be a voice behind the writing, you know? And so I figured I really enjoyed writing that story, and I was like, I want to continue to be able to write stories and converse with you guys about things that have happened in my life. So I wanted to introduce this new segment called Late Night Story Time, even though I'm recording this at like 12:30 in the afternoon. I hope you guys are listening to this before you're going to bed because I feel like as adults, we don't really have bedtime stories. So I figured this would be a nice, kind of chill way to wrap up your day. So without further ado, here's a late night story time. And this is the second edition because I would have posted the first one by now. So here we go. Um, this one is called Cupid Missed Me. So you can kind of get the vibe as to what this one's about. And it takes place. Hold on one second. Hold on. In 2016. Hence my, if you're watching on YouTube, you see my title, 2016 Anuj. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope this is entertaining and fun and isn't stupid. So here you go. Here's the story. Cupid missed me. I feel like most of us have a story about how we liked someone and it didn't work out, or how you got together and then broke up, or how you didn't shoot the shot with the girl and it was the one that got away. You know, the Katy Perry song, Never Mind, right? I think I mixed Katy Perry and Adele there. But we all have some sort of romantic, quote unquote, failure in our lives. So I decided to tell the story of my most obvious romantic failure. Like all great stories and great epics, it starts in a high school quad. It was August of 2016. Everyone was obsessed with Hotline Bling and Controlla and dancing to just another Drake song. I mean, I don't blame us. I love Drake. You see the poster in my background. Drake's still the best. So, I mean, if we were all vibing to Views, I don't see the problem, but, some people do. But Drake was all over the place. It was 2016. Trying to set the scene. Anyway, the start of the school year was upon us, and fresh off a trip to India, my skin looked 18 shades darker. There were tan lines all over the place, and I was hella jet lagged. Also, I was fresh off one of the worst ID pictures in history. But still, I had a growing optimism. I was ready to go. Sophomore year. The high school quad is always an interesting place. And the first day of school, that quad has a renewed energy to it. Everyone is trying to figure out who's in each other's classes. People are scouting each other. Who glue up? Who glue down? Who's hella tan? Who's hooking up with who? Who started dating over the summer? It was a place of immense judgment. Quite the opposite of Planet Fitness, but also no one really cared as everyone was truly just judging each other. As I walked through the droves of people making the same old small talk that was high school, I started walking towards the dreaded math class, the one that I looked at on my schedule and cried thinking about. Algebra 2 with the hardest math teacher on campus. Oh, believe me when I say this, I'm going to write a whole piece on teachers one day, but this isn't one of them. This isn't that piece. This piece is about Grace. You best believe that's a fake name, and hell no, I won't reveal her real name. I get to Algebra 2, and I sit down in class awkwardly, just trying to scan the room for familiar faces. There were literally no familiar faces, knowing my luck. This sucked. At least to get through math class, I needed some distraction, something, some sort of. Then it happened. She ran into the room as the bell sounded, and the teacher looked at her judgmentally at this girl who walked in with her black backpack and Santa Cruz hoodie up, Starbucks iced coffee in hand, And sure enough, she sat right next to me. The first announcement that the teacher bellows at the class: "These seats, everyone, are your seats for the next semester." I look behind me and I see this kind, smiling Indian kid who grins at me. He's not really going to talk to me, I guess. I look to my left and I see this quiet Asian girl who's taking notes. I look down and she's taking notes. Oh shit, am I missing something? What? Wait, I pull out my pencil, but then I look to my right and I see Santa Cruz hoodie girl. She's sitting there, head slumped on the desk. Her face is turned towards me. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, it looks like she really doesn't give a shit. Then what proceeded to be the most confusing math class took place, and I sighed in sadness, figuring, another C minus this semester. That's probably what's going to happen. The next couple of days went by, and it turns out Starbucks and slash Santa Cruz girl and I had pretty much every class together: Spanish, algebra, English. The classes were endless. The funniest part, though, was the one class we didn't have together was chemistry. But then she transferred into my chemistry class, and, well, we sat near each other, just like every class. I figured out her name was Grace, and she had this aura of mystery about her. She could fit in anywhere. One moment, she could have a full on conversation with the football guys about an RPO and their offensive game plan. And the next moment, she could talk to the popular girls about their new hot brand of mascara. And then she could transition to talking about the book she was reading for fun. This girl read for fun? No freaking way. Like I said, I started talking to her because, well, she was the distraction from the fact that I was going to get a D in Algebra 2. She was smart, she worked hard, and she was just smart. She actually seemingly understood what was going on, and she would try to explain it to me, but I never really cared for math anyway. She still persisted, though. I figured that there's no way that a girl with that much personality, who is charismatic, who is good looking, who ran in different social circles than I did, would even bat an eye at me. Me? So what did I do? The brown, awkward, 6'2", lanky kid with braces and glasses, still recovering from the tan lines that he'd faced in India. I just let my personality shine through. Underneath the awkwardness and frankly the kind of gross and wiry appearance was some semblance of a cool kid, and I tried to show that off. I figured the perfect place to do this was Spanish class. The teacher was really nice to me. She kind of liked me and would never really hate me that much. So, and I also knew Spanish kind of well, so I figured this would be the perfect place to underwhelm my parents. A perfect place to be myself. So, I started. Usually, in most classes, I was the quiet kid, at least to the teacher. I would be talking to my friends in whispers, but when those teachers would ask me questions to throw off my game, I would have the answer somehow, and, well, they would leave me alone. Spanish was the ultimate exception to this. I would talk out of turn, I would distract the teacher, I would throw pencils across the room to my friends. I had no freaking filter. I was very borderline rude and I acted like an asshole. And for that, I apologized to my Spanish teacher, who I don't think follows me on social media, but it is what it is. I was 16 years old trying to impress a girl. And for that, I apologize. But I feel like we were all kind of assholes when we were 16. Don't you kind of think? I mean, weren't we all kind of mean? Yeah, I think so. To my complete surprise, however, Grace took notice of this behavior shift. She liked when I would tell jokes or butcher Spanish on purpose to get people's attention, or even talk out of turn to say something random. She loved it, but she was quiet, so she didn't admit that she liked it in public. But right after class was over, she would shoot me a smile or she would whisper something saying that she really thought it was funny. Uh, and that made my day. But also, I knew that Changavi charm was working somehow, some way. Grace and I would have conversations about school, but they would be for very brief moments when there was a lot of people around. I couldn't have people knowing that I was into this girl. No one expected a thing. No one even suspected a thing until one day I waved at her from across the quad and she waved back. And with my friends being 16-year-old teenagers who jumped to conclusions quickly, they assumed I liked her and wanted to marry her. But eventually, after an endless amount of teasing and interrogation techniques, I caved. I liked Grace. Writing this makes me laugh so hard, but genuinely, when I was 16, I really didn't want anyone to know. I was this hella awkward teenager that didn't want to talk about real things. And the only things I would find myself debating for hours with people were about how the 49ers were going to make the playoffs, even though they were 1-6 and with the failing head coach, and how the Warriors were the best team in history. I was right on that one. I was right on that one. Going to make that very clear. Delusional fandom can work in arguments. But the point is, I was concerned about my rep and the way I was seen amongst people, even though I should have just walked in there 2 minutes, laid it out on the line, and asked to take her on a Chipotle date that I would have saved 2 weeks' allowance for to take her on. As the school year went on and my Spanish continued to underwhelm and my grades continued to tank, Grace and I started to have all sorts of real conversations. She talked to me about what she wanted to do after high school, her family, how school sucked, and how all the people at our high school only gave a fuck about grades. We were cool. She would ask me to appear in her Snapchats and turn the doggy filter on, and I thought that was the equivalent of engagement pictures. I thought I had achieved the golden ticket, but little did I know. But all was well in Shangavi land. And then the announcement about winter formal came, and suddenly my anxiety rose. I had been setting this whole thing up, but for what? I had to do something, right? Everyone that I told was egging me on to ask her to winter formal, and it seemed like new people knew about this liking slash weird awkward in between stage every day. So I was getting pressure from everywhere. The days were approaching, and some people were already set on where they were sitting on the bus and who they were going with and had done their formal askings. And I still had no idea if I was even going to the event in the first place. Those that know me really well know how much I hate dressing up. So the idea of formal made me want to throw up. I didn't want to wear some clothes that were bought by my dad 17 years ago and wear them as hand-me-downs looking awkward and terribly fitted. I also didn't like dressing up in general. I'm a sweats and shirt type of guy, except when it comes to jerseys. Then I love dripping out. Come on now. Come on now. When it comes to those Letterman jackets, ooh, ooh, I'll drop 200. Anyway, I don't like dressing up. So that compounded with the gray stuff really was stressing me out. 4 days before the day of winter formal, I'm back in Spanish class where this whole thing began. We're all working in groups on some coloring project, and of course me and Grace ended up in the same group. And for some reason, it ended up being just the two of us working on this coloring project. And as we're both coloring in the drawing, we were joking about winter formal. Dude, I hate dressing up, bro. Everyone's going to be there wearing their dad suits anyway, I said. Grace smiled and rolled her eyes. Dressing up can be nice, you know? But yeah, I guess heels are a bitch, she commented. I disagree with Grace on dressing up is nice, but we continued to color and talk about formal. Those posters are hella dumb. Like, what would my pun be for you? Can I grace your presence at formal? She started laughing really hard. I just thought it was a normal laugh, but it was one of those laughs that I kind of figure she thought was decently, you know, cute, and she thought it was a cool pun. But this is in hindsight, of course. I had no idea in the moment. I was 16. I want to make that very evidently clear. That's funny. Your name's tough, but I guess I would do some Aladdin Jasmine themed thing if I had to do a poster. There was a moment of silence of both of us coloring. She opened her mouth as she was going to speak again. Hey, hypothetically speaking, hypothetically, of course, hypothetically, would you go to formal with me? Like, hypothetically, of course, though. See, now, there were two ways to handle this question that Grace asked me. One was say, yeah, and proceed to ask her to formal, the normal way. The other was to answer the question for what it was, a hypothetical situation. I was also hella nervous, and Grace was really putting me on the spot here. So I quickly reacted in the way an awkward 16-year-old would have acted. Well, literally and hypothetically, I'm probably going to go with friends, so probably no. She smiled and went back to coloring, but I could tell that she was unfortunately hurt. The funniest part was winter formal was in December, so it made sense why Cupid missed me in the first place. It wasn't February. I ended up going to formal, but a story not involving Grace happened there, so that's another one for another day. In terms of Grace and I, we continued to talk and we continued to be friends. We ended up having a lot more classes together, and it was really in my quest to get Grace's attention that I discovered this talent of being a hidden class clown type of personality. I started to have more fun, crack jokes, and I became the loud kid for a while. We remained friends, and past that innocent moment that we had in Spanish class, Grace ended up going through a lot in high school. She really changed a lot after our sophomore year. Her personality, the way she carried herself, her appearance, it just felt different. I saw someone that year who was joyful, happy, and fun, but that seemingly changed. We remained acquaintances throughout high school, and I'm sure at some point she figured out that I had a thing for her, but that doesn't matter. The moment passed, and we both went on with our lives. Cupid really missed the mark on that one, didn't he? And that's my story, everybody. My 16-year-old love story. And we're about to hit the 5-year anniversary this December, which is kind of crazy. It's been 5 years since 2006. Has it been 5 years since 2016? That's kind of insane. But yeah, that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun writing it. It's fun to like write down events in your life that you haven't really thought of for a while, and then like reflect on them and be like, "Wow, I was a freaking idiot." So yeah, the moral of the story is just shoot your shot, boys and girls, with whoever it is that you like, and don't be a Anuj in high school. That's probably what I would say. But that's all I have. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys like the videos, like and subscribe. Follow me on Spotify. Follow me on YouTube. You know the vibes. That's it. All right, guys. I'm out. Have a great night. Good night. Sweet dreams. And I hope you all enjoy that story. Peace.